Achieving greatness is ideally what many aspire to do, but those who truly reach this rare level of greatness are rarely ever satisfied. And you can see this with probably one of the greatest examples is Faker. He's won many championships over and over, and yet he still has this hunger, this drive to try and achieve the same result or the same greatness or even higher than what he had before, and to keep improving his game. And this is a constant battle, a constant turmoil, you could say, within his own inner being. And this is the champion mindset. Now, as an onlooker, there may be this perversion when you look at these people that are great or that are at the top of their field. And this can be anything, whether it be esports, whether it be traditional sports, whether it be someone who is spiritually great. Maybe that's your thing, and that you find greatness in tune with spirituality. Or maybe it's about mental aptitude, and you find those great as those who have won a Nobel Prize or at the top of their field because of their theories. But the perversion of this comes from the possibility of failure. Now, racing is a fantastic example of this, and that these racing drivers put everything on the line, even somewhat their life, and not to the extreme, because they have all the safety equipment and everything, and so it's quite less than what the actual plebeian even thinks racing is that no, you have a ton of safety equipment, and so what you're doing isn't necessarily extremely crazy, but you are still risking your life, and so that's pretty ridiculous. Now, as an onlooker, that's very exciting, because they're going for their dreams, they're shooting for this greatness, and that's why Formula One is so incredible, because these people are going 150 plus miles an hour, and they're trying to be the best that they can be, and to win and get a championship, and yet they are sacrificing so much. And so that's what makes winning, that's what makes success, that's what makes greatness so mesmerizing, so invigorating, is because you see all the things that they place on the line, and you wonder if you yourself could do something like that. And that brings me to my next point, which is that I think the Western mentality of the fear of failure is something which holds a lot of Western culture back, especially when becoming great in a particular field. And it's this idea of putting everything on the line, and yet you still fail. You've done everything in your power to be, to get to a greater level than you were before, and yet you failed. And sometimes you may even keep failing over and over and over again. And so this is similar to something like solo queue for, League of Legends esports players, is that you may try and keep getting up and up and up on the ladder, and suddenly you hit this cap and you aren't able to improve as much as you were before. And so you keep failing over and over again. And then there comes this Western mentality of, oh, I wasn't really trying. I don't really care about this game. It doesn't matter to me. Ranked, no, I don't care about that. It's stupid. Like, I only lost that game because I wasn't trying. That's a ridiculous notion. So you're saying you weren't trying, and yet you still care to play the game? You still care to play ranked? You still truly care about your ranked? And there may be even times to where you look at other people that are below your rank and you say, oh, well, you don't know as much as me. Like, oh, well, yeah, I'm better than you because I have a higher rank, and so on and so forth. And so this idea that you weren't trying is ridiculous. And I think it's a crutch that a lot of Westerners, especially young Westerners, believe and they fakely go on to, because it's this excuse, this free get out of jail free card, in order to say, oh, like, just because I failed, it doesn't matter to me in the grand scheme of things. And you can even relate this to, like, let's go on a sidebar, like girls, right? You ask a girl out and there's this fear of rejection, right? There's this fear that, well, you might fuck things up, you might say something wrong. And yet that's what makes the greatness, getting the success, getting her number or something, that much greater. But then that may stop people from actually doing that, because there is this fear of failure, this overwhelmingness to think that you could possibly fail at this. And the more and more times that you fail, the harder and harder it gets. And some people break down from that. And to some degree, it is understandable, but it seems like it's this weird Western mentality and this constant reminder of failure over and over again. And I don't see this as much in Eastern cultures, such as, China or Korea or Japan, because a lot of these Asiatic cultures, they end up going to one craft and practicing it over and over and over and over and over again. And that's why you have this kind of obsessive culture that goes towards one specific expert field that they might be in, whether it be someone that knows everything about cars and knows everything about, Nissans or Toyotas or whatever, and that's all that they work on. And so their shop is primarily known for Nissans or Toyotas, because this guy is just insane with the modifications for this, and so everyone goes to that. And so there's this perfection that Asiatic cultures don't seem to be afraid of going towards, to try and achieve greatness, to achieve success. And this seems like a idea of looking one step at a time, of mastering the small things first before looking at the bigger picture, and to perfecting your fundamentals in a sense. And with Western ideology, there's this idea that you have to think about the broad spectrum of things and to think about your end goal instead, when in reality, the winner's mentality, or this champion's mentality, is to focus on the small things first and build off from that, and keep conquering all these small things until you've mastered essentially everything about your entire craft. And so failure is thought of this big monster under the bed that is going to get you once you fail. It's like this demon that is suddenly just going to snatch you out of the reaches of success because you have failed one or two times. And it's obviously not the case, right? And so there's this dichotomy of failure and success. And this is why greatness is so intoxicating, and why we as humans are naturally drawn to such great feats from other prolific people or esports players.